When making a selection, there is always a chance you might select too many objects, or not enough. Fortunately, AutoCAD allows us to make revisions to a selection. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to add and remove objects from a selection set. On my screen, I have some abstract geometry. Let's take a look at this pattern on the left first. Maybe I'd like to erase all of those yellow squares. To do that, I'll launch the erase command and I'll start by creating a window selection to grab these squares on the top. I'll then create a crossing window to select the squares on the left side, and then I'll wrap up by creating another window selection to get these squares in the lower right. The thing I want you to notice is that AutoCAD defaults to a multiple selection mode. As long as I keep selecting objects, those objects are added to the selection list set. When I'm finished, I'll press the Enter key. Now I'd like to bring this geometry back. To do that, I'll launch the Undo command. I could also use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-Z. Let's try and make that same selection, except this time we'll do it in a different way. I'll relaunch the Erase command, and this time I'm going to create a window selection around everything. This obviously selected too much. At the Select Objects prompt, I'm going to hold my Shift key down, and I'll reselect these 6 circles to remove them from the selection. I'll then take my finger off the Shift key and I'll press Enter when I'm finished. So by holding the Shift key down, you can remove objects from a selection set. Knowing what we know now, let's see how quickly we can select and erase the yellow squares in this pattern on the right. I'll launch the Erase command. I'm going to make a window and select everything. I'll then hold my Shift key and deselect the geometry in the middle. I'll take my finger off the Shift key and I'll reselect the square in the center. When I'm finished, I'll press Enter. Now that we have better understanding of how we can add and remove from a selection, let's try and use these tools in a practical example. On my screen I have a drawing of a motorcycle sprocket. Now everything about this drawing is perfect with the exception of these teeth. All of this geometry needs to be erased. If I was trying to select this geometry using Windows, that would be extremely tedious. Let me press Escape. Instead, I will select these teeth using the Add or Remove options. I'll start by launching the Erase command, and I'll create a window around the entire sprocket. I'll then hold down my Shift key and create a crossing window to deselect the geometry in the middle. When I'm finished, I'll press Enter, and only the teeth are erased. As you can see, AutoCAD makes it easy to refine a selection set. If you want to add more, just select more. If you want to remove objects, select them again while holding down the Shift key.